Every player desires to win, but players must play by the rules. There are rules of the game, okay? And the outcomes are numerous. You can have a zero-sum outcome where the winner takes it all. You can have a win-win outcome. We all share. You can have an end-sum outcome. Some win more, some lose less, and so on. All of these things are part of the game that we play. When people representing their groups want to enter into a federal bargain, there are some questions that we must immediately answer. First, who are these people that can enter into a bargain? Are they the legal, legitimate representatives of the constituent units? Everyone talks about what happened prior to 1966 in the First Republic. The restructuring that went on that time had political parties and had the regions. They were the people, taking part in the bargains. Today, our political parties have all but disappeared. They are not part of this whole movement. The action group had as its motto, unity through federation. The political parties are a problem. The states are even more problematic. So see what we are doing. We are like Enoch, the overzealous Christian who's weeping more than the bereaved. You say, listen to what you say. We want more powers for the states. But the states have not told you so. Many state governors are afraid to get more powers. Okay? Now, the guys who are calling for restructuring of different kinds are precisely people who have no locus, no legal locus to drive this process. Because these are self-appointed, contested leaders of groups that, have emerged all over the place. It's difficult now to tell who the authentic voices are. But I tell you who those authentic voices are, and that's how bargaining happens. There are legal entities. The National Assembly is one of them. In the National Assembly, we have our own representatives. We have sent them there to go to represent us. In South Africa, they looked at the Senate, and they said, you know what? These guys think they are bearers of central authority, and they don't seem to know what they are doing. So we should change the name of that Senate so they know where they belong and what is expected of them. So they changed the name from Senate to Council of Provinces. Because they said to them, when you go there, don't forget that you have come to represent a province. Just in case we don't remember. But our National Assembly is there, and very soon I am going to tell you that the National Assembly has made itself one of the obstacles to our restructuring. The political parties, the states. So, let me argue that a great part of the demands that have led us to this whole debate about restructuring is attributable to the dysfunctionality of the states. The states are dysfunctional. Political parties are dysfunctional. How, you ask me? Look, when IPOB says, and every person in Aba is saying it, we are marginalized. How are you marginalized? They say, come and see the roads. We don't even have water to drink. We don't have good schools. We don't have hospitals. For Christ's sake, what are the state governments doing? Mind you, the states say, oh, well, we don't even have the resources. So we cannot do those things. But that's not entirely true. 52%, I don't like statistics, but please let me use this one time. 52% of our total public expenditure, public expenditure, is by states and local governments. 52% by states and local governments. Very little to show for it. Okay? Very little to show for it. Let me even tell you one secret. Do you know that our federal government has the trappings of an effective government in a way that state governments don't have? The federal government is very powerful, but it is balanced by the National Assembly, by civil society, by the judiciary, and every person in a manner that state governments are not hounded at all. Now, state governors tell us that they don't have money to do the kinds of things that they want to do, or even that the Constitution does not allow them. It is true that there are 68 items on the exclusive legislative list, only about 16 or so in the concurrent list. That's cute, it's not very good. We need to talk about that. But do you know that on June 12th, many state governors declare public holidays, and that that's a violation of the Constitution because public holiday is on the exclusive legislative list? Do you know that? So, who's stopping which state government from doing what it wants to do? Okay? Everywhere in the world, when people talk of true federalism, it is because the state governments, or by whatever name they are called, are also in the forefront of activating the federal principles and saying, give us our turf. Governors and the states that they govern must also become activists. They must wrest powers from the government. And many state governments have done so. The other day, Lagos State came up with hospitality taxes. And the federal agency, the tourism board, says, no, this is a matter for the federal government. They went to court, and Lagos State won. Lagos State created new local government councils, and the federal government withheld, allocations to those councils, and they went to court. And the court ruled that Lagos State was right. So, you want to restructure. One of the key instruments for restructuring is judicial review. And that's why the Supreme Court is there. You go to court, test the waters, and do all of those things. Look, in South Africa, in 1994, independence came. And KwaZulu-Natal, one of the 9 provinces, adopted its own constitution, adopted its own flag, and adopted its own anthem. And the national government says, no, this is treason. And the guys say, let's go to court. They went to the Constitutional Court. And the Constitutional Court ruled that every province has a right to a constitution, to an anthem, and to a flag. So our state governments need to become more active in this restructuring process. Not just a debate. They must do things that will reduce their dysfunctionalities. They must stand up to be counted. There is very little governance in many of our states. There is very little transparency. There is very little accountability. Now, if states stand up, then restructuring would become more active. Because the things that you are asking for constitutional amendments for would have taken place even through practice. Federal constitutions are not always the best indicators of how federal a system is. It is in the practice, in the doing, that you find true federalism. So our states must go there and do that. Now, let's go back to games. If you're playing a game, you also expect that you won't lose. So all potential bargainers in a federal situation have their own expectations of the benefits of joining a federation.